It's me again with yet another post on leveraging Gen AI to drive productivity in go to market. So, a few days ago, Ruben Hassid actually posted a prompt uh, that he used to act like Simon Sinek. So, those of you who know me know I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's Start with Why and the Golden Circle, where Simon Sinek basically talks about you need to, as a company, you need to first define your why, then you talk about how you do it, and then you talk about what do you do, as opposed to how most companies tend to work, which is they start with what they do rather than why they do what they do. Um, and so this got me thinking about my company that I just started and how could I leverage something like this in ChatGPT? As you know, I'm trying to use ChatGPT to do everything. Uh, and could I use it to generate a message like this? When I was at Tableau, when I was at Gong, we use Corporate Visions, and so Corporate Visions is this consulting firm that has come up with a science-based approach, and they talk about in a kind of simple form. They talk about most customers are not interested in buying from you. Usually, the reason they don't buy is because they are not ready to change. And so, the first thing you need to address is explain to the customer why they need to change, get rid of the what is known as the status quo bias, the do nothing bias. Then after you've now convinced them that they need to change, then you need to convince them why they need to change now, as opposed to saying, yeah, I need to change, but I'm going to do it a year from now. And then you can talk about why you're the right solution for it. So they have this why change, why now, why you framework. And what I wanted to see was, could I leverage ChatGPT to actually generate the why change, why now, why me for my firm? And so, as you know, what I did, I immediately wanted to test this out. I went and put a little prompt, which basically said, I'm a consultant helping customers transform their go to market motion, leveraging Gen AI, blah, 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 give a lot of examples, talk about the kind of problems that I would solve for these companies. And then I said, use the Why Change, Why Now framework from corporate visions to come up with a presentation that I can use to present to executives. And what you'll see is it actually came up with a pretty decent uh, presentation format. There's an introduction, talks about the current landscape, the challenge, why change, the opportunity, the urgency, path forward, case studies. So the first thing you'll notice is that while this is good, I couldn't just use this. Plus, it does not exactly follow the corporate visions, why change, why now, why me format. It's got a bunch of other stuff in it. Um, and then I realized the challenge with just using ChatGPT in general is that there's no way for me to actually target it towards something more specific. What I would have loved to do is upload some documents which says, hey, this is the why change messaging, this is what my company does. Can you combine the two and create something more relevant? And you can now think about all the various use cases. If I'm doing account research rather than just saying, hey, ChatGPT, tell me what the priorities for this company are. Imagine if I could upload 10Ks and analyst presentations and my company's messaging and then saying, hey, I gave you something very specific. Can you go search for it? Uh, Guess what? I then bumped into two friends, Helen and Dmitri at AnyQuest, and they've actually built something like this. They've built an orchestration layer that lets me actually think about the workflow of everything I need to do to kind of connect the dots to go build this. And AnyQuest was kind enough to give me access to their workspace. And it's a very simple UI from the workspace standpoint, but it's genius in terms of the problems it solves for me. What I did was I went and I found the relevant content. So there's the five values conversation from Corporate Vision's website. I uploaded that. I then uploaded an example that I found on the internet with like messaging that Corporate Visions had created around kind of the why change story flow. I put like another presentation from Corporate Visions around the perspective paper. I also uploaded a McKinsey presentation which basically starts talking about the total economic value and the how Gen AI is going to drive productivity and how much productivity is going to drive, like a long like 60-page document that I uploaded there. I also uploaded the areas of opportunity that I feel I could go drive with go-to-market teams for their productivity. This one I went to ChatGPT and said, hey, generate areas of opportunity, uploaded that. And then there was another presentation which basically talks about some sales stats because I wanted to give it some statistics. So you can see where I'm going with this. What I have now done is I've given very specific content relevant to me, which is now in this secure space. So the other beauty about this is not going into ChatGPT's model. This is staying on their server. Just little pieces of this are then sent to the LLM to get the response back. So it's beautiful what this little simple interface does. And then basically I went and I put the same prompt there. I said, I'm a consultant helping customers transform, blah, blah, blah. And can you generate? And now you'll see that because I had given it content and I'd made it specific, it actually came back and it said, this should be a why change slide, transforming go to market strategies with Gen AI. And it talks about how it's revolutionizing industries by automating manual tasks. McKinsey is saying it's 3 to 5%, blah, 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 blah. So what I did was I then took this and then I put it into a PowerPoint because ChatGPT can, output a PowerPoint. And now when you look at it, you can now see the presentation that I generated using AnyQuest, but sitting on top of Gen AI, very specific and tailored. And I think this has been what is missing for me is that I have found it hard to just use ChatGPT in its native kind of generic form. And I've always been like, I would love it if I could just upload some of my specific content and then chat GPT that stuff to generate what I want. And so you'll now see it's got, it's talking about how it's revolutionizing industries, talks about, what McKinsey is predicting in terms of 3 to 5%, and then how many organizations are only like scratching the surface. You're got all these manual tasks, and if you don't do it now, there are opportunities you're going to lose. So that's the why change message, which I think is pretty compelling. I can see myself actually getting in front of an executive and talking about why they need to change. And then in terms of why now, the urgency of doing this, integrating Gen AI into their go-to-market motion, is because we've all heard about digital transformation, and what we are now seeing is that Gen AI is at the forefront of like pushing that digital transformation at an exponential speed. And a lot of go-to-market strategies in the future are going to be shaped by Gen AI. Gartner talks about how 20% of all B2B sales activity are going to be implemented using Gen AI. And obviously it's early stages, but there's so much more, and it's not a future consideration. You need to start thinking about this now. And so again, I think it's pretty compelling. And then from there, like, my whole criteria is, would I use this in a presentation? And I don't see why I wouldn't use this in a presentation with a customer. I might actually add a few more links to the statistics and add a few more statistics to just make it more powerful. um, and then here it just talks about, what do I do, what do I bring to the table. It's kind of made up some stuff over here in terms of like, I've helped numerous businesses and I've seen productivity increases, but that's the value that I'm providing. And so, what I want to leave you with is, think about all those use cases. Let's take account research or account planning. Wouldn't you love it if you could just go to an interface uh, like what AnyQuest has, where you could just go upload very specific content in terms of your accounts and stuff like that, and your messaging, and then basically use ChatGPT to generate very specific content that is tailored with your messaging tied to the customer's priorities without you having to do anything. Similarly, there are other things that I could think about where this could be used. And where I'm excited about, the AnyQuest platform is, while this is a UI for a very simple use case, there are many such use cases that can be built on top of their orchestration layer that I'm excited to go try out. And you probably see a post on that next time. Thank you.